before we get started, why don't we just have you tell us a little bit of who you are, how you got started with writing, a little bit of that beginning journey.
Okay, well, it's been pretty much a lifelong journey, actually. I have always been a writer. Even when I was a little kid, I would write my own stories. And right around second or third grade, I wrote a story about some kids exploring a cave. And I vaguely remember there was a magical ham sandwich involved and a ghost. Um, and the teacher dubbed me the writer, and it sort of stuck. And ever since then, I have been going in and out of kind of a long love affair with writing fiction in particular. I spent a long time thinking I could only write short stories and that I didn't have the focus to actually write a novel. But then I did manage to write a novel. And so that's how we get here today. So it's
Yeah,
one of many hats I've worn, but it's the hat that I've loved the best. And I'm determined to keep that hat on now and not take it off for
yeah,
anybody.
that's great. I love how you call it a love affair because I feel like that's so true of everyone's always, even if you love writing, you're still wrestling with it always, like, because it's a hard thing to do, you know?
It is. And people who haven't done it don't quite get that, I don't think. I had a baby writer that I was talking to who was just starting. They were in that, oh, I think I have a novel in me phase, you know?
Yeah.
And I said to them, don't do this because you think you have a novel in you, because
Mhm.
this is hard. Do it because you love it and you have to do it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you won't get through it. You won't make it through it, and you might even finish the novel. But then getting the novel in front of other people is a whole nother ball of wax. So
Mhm.
yeah, they were momentarily offended until I explained what I
Yeah.
meant.
I just saw a quote today from I think it was from C.S. Lewis, and he said something. This is not exact, but something to the effect of, "Don't become a writer because you want to be a writer. Become a writer because you want to tell great stories,
Mhm.
and you have something inside of you you want to tell. But don't do it
Yes.
just to be a writer because that's a bad
Yeah.
idea."
Yeah. If you go into it saying I'm going to be a writer, well, there are
Mm.
lots of avenues to that. You can write journalism. I did that for 20 years. That was not writing.
Mhm.
That was a different thing. But it's really hard to, especially people who want to pursue publishing and getting published. And it's, I don't want to quash anybody's dreams. That's the last thing on the list of things that I want to do. But sorry, I'm trying to untangle a cat here.
That's all right.
Um, but the whole idea that you write a novel and then you get it published doesn't happen that way for anybody. Not on the trad side, not on the indie side.
Mhm.
There is so much more work that goes into it. And the reality of it is that it's hard. It's hard
Mhm.
work. It is an entirely separate career.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's always harder than you think. Like I think I mean I think everyone has that moment where they're like, I'm gonna write, like you said, like I got a book in me, I'm gonna write a book. And then, you maybe write a couple chapters that are fairly easy or you think they are, and then all of a sudden it gets pretty hard pretty quick. And then you realize how much goes into it. And then not to mention once you get through that first draft phase, now you actually have to edit the thing. And then you gotta market it and there's just so many more things that go into it than
mhm.
just writing it. And
Mhm.
so, yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because if you don't like what you've written, you're in terrible trouble because you're going to have to read it 18,000 times between the
Mhm.
time you finish it and the time it's published.